Hey everybody, this is Pete from PA Labs, and today I'm going to talk about the ICE design process that I wrote as a utility in support of ICE design GUI. And no, I didn't write ICE design GUI. The person who did is an awesome developer and has done a fabulous job. This is one of truly one of the nicest form designers of any programming language I've ever written. Um, what I want to say is uh, I personally have a problem with this, and it's my problem, is that I can't design a software system that has only one screen, one form, and that is the design of ICE design. And so my solution was this little exe ICE design um, process. I think in the download that you can get from my website, it's called ICE process. Um, this is actually the more raw version that I kind of use myself. Uh, so, um, And what it does is it allows me to consolidate all the forms of my project into a pair of files. You can't consolidate, well, I guess you could possibly consolidate it into one, but it'd be pretty ugly. Uh, when the code is generated for a form here, and you can look at the code. There's a bottom panel down here of what he's going to build for you. And it's a pretty nice little form down here that you can play with. But if you notice, you have your one window here, and then all of your gadgets enumeration here. So when the problem that you have when you have multiple forms, you must have unique window enumeration. So if you have two windows with numerator 0, when you uh, present or close your window ID 0, whatever ID 0 it chooses to close or open is the one he's going to choose to open or close. So you end up stepping all over yourself with these enumerations. So what the process does when you have more than one uh, form is the output is these two constants file and a Windows file, and they're based on the name you choose. So let's go ahead and launch this little guy. And the new features I've given to this in the last few days have been to ignore the resizing procedures if I personally do not use them. And I'm sure there's somebody out there who absolutely detests hiding forms. So you can eliminate those here and not have to mess with the settings folder too terribly much. There's an awful lot of stuff you can do, customization in your forms in that settings file. I do um, urge you to go through it. We'll look at a few things in there, but the name parent, the root name you provide, normally this would be your project name, and then you identify the source file. And I want to point out over here, this is how I do it. You don't have to do it this way. Come up with your own schema. I put the forms, the ICE design process and the forms into a forms folder. And then when I generate the code of my forms, I stick that in a subfolder and just call it all PB. So the additional file you see here, and there's an INI file over here, are actually used by ICE Designer. So this handles, my ICE process handles twofold. First, it consolidates all of your forms into a working schema. but it also lets you deal with your parentage of forms. So uh, in our example on parent-child, SpriteSheet has a parent of main, okay, and SpriteTile has a parent of Sprite. So having those connections made is much better for when you have multiple forms in your system. So when you run this process, he's going to add underscore constants and underscore windows to whatever you put here. And you can save this. He'll overwrite. And now let's go ahead and bring up constants real quick. Actually, I'll bring them both up. And then we'll come over here and take a look. So now my three forms are enumerated together in a single enumeration block. So it's, 1, 2, and 3. And then down here, we have the window gadgets. The window gadgets are by form. They're alphabetical. And they just continue the numbering schema. And then we get to images. Okay, so we have the images that were used on buttons. These are in their own group also. And then if you had fonts that you loaded, they all come in down here at the bottom. And then there's the actual load of the images into their values, into their enumeration. So you got the actual image with you. So, and all that goes and it gets compiled inside your exe. So the second thing he does is splits out your Windows, individual Windows files. Here I keep pretty much the structure that it comes across with. I eliminate all of the, if you want to make it look pretty, you can always come up here and say format indentation, and presto, everything's gorgeous in formatting. I didn't really mess with that. That wasn't one of my paradigms. So it pulls out the resize steps and the calls to them. And now you're ready to go. You include these two files in your main script at the top. And so I always load constants as the very first guy. And then I load other things. And then I do windows before I do forms. So that's the basic gist of that. What I also wanted to show you is on an individual form by form basis, you can set your settings. Now, ones to be kind of careful of, you have proportional sizes. I normally make sure he's turned off. I make sure that the size and position is turned off. And you have let's see, you want to keep the event loop. That's always good to have inside those. And I use short names here. And let's see what else. Down here, you got full customization in this code options on the variables and what they look like on your enumeration. So if I jump back here, I like gadget, form name, what it is, the control, and then my name that I associated with it. So if we come back over here, that would be prefix. I fill in gadget underscore. Then he puts in Windows name, then the gadget, that's the short name. I have it checked up here. And then a suffix, the suffix being whatever I've named it actually on the form. So that's how I like to separate out my names. You have a different schema, that's fine. If you're using Class Builder, use that schema. That's what Class Builder is expecting. That's what he wants to use. So there's a caveat there. But that pretty much concludes the video of what my little bolt-on product utility tool does to help ICE process basically have a broader audience and make it able for me to use. Thanks for your time.